Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
There might be some rain coming through. We expect rain soon. Rain is close. The session has been declared wet. No sign of this rain stopping. Rain is clearing up. Rain should be gone for now. Nothing but sunshine all day.
Okay, welcome in. Round 2 of the American Sim Racing Sports Car Championship this week takes us to Mexico City, one of the newer tracks in iRacing service. This is Racer Nexus, and I'm Rob Campbell. In the booth with me today, Brian Zinn, fresh back from his trip off to Daytona. Welcome in, Zinn.
Good evening, everybody. How are you doing, Rob?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm actually excited for this one. Mexico City is probably the first new track that we've gotten in a while that I really like, so I'm looking forward to this one. Mix of new cars and old cars here this evening with the old Corvette C7 Prototype and then the GT3 machinery. It was a ton of fun last week at where were we, at Daytona, so I expect to see a lot more exciting action here this evening too as well at Mexico City.
Yeah, it should be quite fun. We're using the National Historic layout, which for those of you that are old like myself and remember the days when Grand Am went there, that is the layout that they ran with the father to the Corvette Daytona Prototype, the original DPs, the Turtles as they all got called. But yeah, I love this Corvette Daytona Prototype. It's one of my favorite cars to drive in the game. I'm My only regret is I wasn't on the service back when this was the top dog in sports car racing and got to do Daytona and all the special events with it. So happy to see a league using it. And like you said, with the mix of the new GT3s, it's a great blend of new and old school.
Yeah, it was interesting last week. There was, well, we're trying to remember. I think they're running medium downforce setup. It's a fixed setup on the prototypes, and on the end of the straight on the banking, the prototypes would catch the GT3s, but they'd pretty much max out at the same top speed, so they couldn't necessarily pass them at the end of the straightaway. So if they didn't make the pass beforehand, they had to kind of tuck in and behind. So it made for some dicey turn one antics a couple times out there. So I don't suspect we'll see the same here at Mexico City. The straights aren't nearly as long as the high banks of Daytona, so should make it a lot easier for overtaking in the prototypes.
Yeah, and with Mexico City's elevation, it'll be interesting if the thinner air plays a part in either aerodynamic efficiency or power for these cars as well. But yeah, I mean, it's just such a fun combination. I'm bummed I missed last week. It sounds like it was a great event, and hopefully these guys carry that momentum forward into tonight's race.
Absolutely, and if you're looking to join the league, you can find the Discord link in the description of the video. They are recruiting, so there's still plenty of time. We're only in race number 2 of, I believe we're doing 10 weeks here this season. And before I get myself into trouble here, why don't I take and pop up the season info just so I can confirm that, yes, week 10, or 10 weeks, this is week number 2. We're at Mexico City. We're going to do 2 heats. The first one going to be 20 minutes. Then we'll invert the field for the feature race, 40 minutes of action. They will have to make a pit stop in the 40-minute race. Next week, we're going to head to Indy Road. So, again, a much different track than Mexico City here. And even though it's, I guess, a roval, I guess you want to call it, it's still much different than a typical roval like Charlotte or Daytona.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say Indy Road is more of a proper road course than definitely a Charlotte Roval, which fresh news this week is apparently not going to be a playoff round in the NASCAR playoffs this year. So they're doing 2 races at the Charlotte Oval, which I'm perfectly fine with. I absolutely hate the Charlotte Roval, but Indy Road I've come to quite enjoy, so that will be another fun week next week.
I'm glad to hear I'm not the only one that isn't a fan of the Charlotte Roval. Yeah, I hate the new Charlotte Roval even more than the old one, if that was even possible, as in. So I don't know what they were thinking in that redesign. But
yeah, and like many things, iRacing played a hand with trying the configurations out and so forth. But I get funny looks anytime I say that I hate the Charlotte Roval. But it's never been fun to watch on TV. It's never been fun to race on the sim. The 1 year that IMSA went there during COVID, I couldn't bring myself to watch it. I was like, I hate this track so much.
I can't say anything against that. I'd have to agree. But we're waiting for qualifying to finish up here. Let's take a look at our point standings here after 1 week. What do we got on the C7 prototype side of things?
Yeah, Christopher Hill came out on top last week at Daytona, and with that, he now gets to lay claim to the top of the point standings. He's got 2 points separating him from Avery Hart, and another 2 points back to Damian Dania. Travis Fleming and Roman Curdy round out your top 5, both separated by 1 point. Brian Dees is in 6th at the moment, followed by Robert Monday, Joshua Rutherford, Dave Seats, and Brody Gunter round out your top 10. Definitely a close championship. Granted, we're only 1 race in, but with the points breakdown that they have for these races, everybody will be fighting for every point they can get.
Absolutely. And over on the GT3 side, just as close at the top with Mike Hamlin only 1 point ahead of Kian Majuro. Those were our 2 winners. Majuro won the first 20-minute heat race, and then Hamlin came out and really dominated the feature race. So that's why we see them 1-2. Victor Aldrich in 3rd place with Nathan Carter and Samuel Baumgarten. Rounding out our top 5, our chief admin Corey Rutherford right in that battle too as well in 6th place. Only a couple spots back from each of them. But we got a teams championship too as well, Zin. How's it looking over there in the team side of things?
Yeah, Team Watson Racing currently is holding top spot there with 70 points coming off of last week's efforts. Limitless Motorsports, though, is currently sitting in second, only 3 points adrift. And then down in third, you got the MFRD squad, followed by Work in Progress Racing and AP Racing to round out the top 5. Rest of the standings, you're going to find TWR SJ Division in 6, followed by Team Fast-ish, love that name, and then the ESGI Motorsports Squad and Work in Progress Racing number 2, and then AP Racing number 2, followed by JK Racing and Goldmine Racing.
Yeah, no, we should touch on the teams side of things, is because we are doing multi-class racing, the teams have to be made up of one prototype car and one GT3 machine, so they can't have 2 prototypes or 2 GT3s. So any of these teams, that's the makeup of it. Throw a little interesting twist into the points issue here, so it should be a ton of fun.
Yeah, again, something unique to this league. Love to see it. Definitely should be an attracting feature for people that are wanting to get into league racing.
Absolutely. So qualifying has just finished up here. We'll take a look at the grid. In the Corvette side of things, we're going to look at Brody Gunter taking pole from Damian Dania onto the outside. And then in row 2, we're going to find Christopher Hill and Dave Seats 3rd and 4th, Rob Henry and Brian Dees in 5th and 6th. 7th place goes to James Watson with Joshua Rutherford in P8. And rounding out our prototype field is going to be Travis Fleming. What do we got in the GT3 machines, Brian?
Sorry, I clicked off of the broadcast real quick.
No problem. We got Corey Rutherford in top spot in GT3 with Keane Majuro in 2nd place. And then Victor Aldrich and Ken Estep and Daniel Miglin and Ty Marasco around out the field in GT3. And again, if you're watching at home and you think this would be kind of fun, mix of the new and old machinery, you can find the link for the league in the description of the video. They'd love to have you in and get you on track. What are your thoughts here on Mexico City? We're running the National Historic layout here tonight, Brian. Honestly, this isn't a layout I've ran yet at Mexico.
I haven't either, but like I said, it is period correct for this kind of Grand Am style format that we've got. Granted, not a direct match, since we've got slightly newer Daytona Prototype machinery and definitely newer GT cars, but it's a fun layout. It cuts out some of the technical bits, but it also deletes the stadium section, which is one of my favorite parts of the Grand Prix circuit. But it's fast. It presents a lot of passing opportunities. Obviously, down in turn 1 is the most famous passing point. I think anybody that follows F1 remembers Sergio Perez's epic failure on trying to make that 3-wide pass down in turn 1 a few years back. But yeah, you know, it uses part of the oval section at the end of the lap, which when you nail that gives you a heck of a run down the front straightaway to that aforementioned turn 1 braking zone. So I'm expecting a lot of action. It's a shame we don't have a bigger grid to make use of it, but it's a great layout. I expect a lot of fun tonight from these guys.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if the multi-class plays out here with that little extra condition here, where they're not going to have the long straights to really make that overtaking opportunity here. Unfortunately, it looks like a couple of our cams get caught in behind the grandstand, so I'll have to keep an eye on that. But 20-minute heat coming your way. Then, as I said, we're going to we'll restack them, reverse order for race number 2. We do have a couple of camera cars with us this evening. We've got the chief, Corey Rutherford, on board with him. We'll check in with him all throughout the race. And then Damian Dania, we have him on board too as well. So a couple of camera cars. We'll be able to keep our eyes on both those drivers to see how they're doing throughout the race. Dania going to start on the front row of prototypes, and Corey Rutherford starting on pole in GT3. So both these drivers providing camera shots for us tonight, starting on the sharp end of the field here. So they're putting the right foot forward here early, as in.
Yeah, definitely. And notice as well, they're not doing a split start between the prototypes and the GT cars. I love that. I hate the people and officials that want to leave massive gaps between the classes. But regardless, we're about to roll off of turn 12 here, the final corner, and get this thing lit.
We should see the safety car duck in here. He's going to wait till the last second. Barney, unsafe entry there, but he doesn't get flagged. We're just waiting for that green flag to drop, and then we'll be underway. Gunter and Daniel leading the field. Long run to the green flag. There it is. It's out. We're off. First 20-minute feature race underway. Looks like a nice, strong start for Gunter on the inside. So you got the whole shot over Daniel. He's going to have the inside line into turn 1, but Dave Seats right there too as well, trying to put some pressure. Looks like maybe 3 wide into turn 1 here is in.
Yeah, I was going to say they were fanning 3 wide out in the GTs behind these guys, and then the Daytona Prototypes wanted to join in the fun. 3 wide through turn 1 and 2, about 2 rows back. They make that work. I say that, but there was a little bit of contact there for 5th place, but they keep it going straight, well held from those guys there, and looks like we are clean all the way through first third of this lap.
And well done by the entire field. Let's hop back to the GT3 class. Take a look here as Maduro has got himself up in the top spot. I'm not sure what happened to Corey Rutherford, but he has fallen all the way back here now into 5th place in class, 14th overall. We'll see if we can pick up exactly what happened to him, but not the start our pole sitter in GT3 was looking for early on in this one.
Yeah, it looks like something happened with Joshua Rutherford too. I don't know if he missed his braking point or got a little help, but went and mowed some grass as well, gathered it up, and he's currently in the middle of it looks like just a brake lockup, maybe missed a brake point there. And these Daytona Prototypes don't have ABS, so if you mash the brake pedal in an emergency stop, it's just going to skid right off the track in a cloud of smoke. But he gets it going, didn't collect anybody, didn't damage his car, and he's going to resume racing back in the middle of the GT3 field. But as we see Dania Damon there, car squirming under the brakes there. I love cars with no ABS. Just so good to watch. Proper old school machinery here, and soundtrack, perfect time to go on board.
And these are right-hand drive prototypes too as well, which last week Richard and I, when we realized that about, it probably took us almost halfway through the race before we realized that these were the right-hand drive prototype versions. That it seemed odd. American vehicle, right-hand drive, but I guess they weren't used all that much over on the this side of the pond versus as much as they were used over in say like Le Mans and ELMS.
Yeah, they never raced internationally outside of whatever American series went to Canada or Mexico, so I don't remember if there was a reason why they were on the right-hand side of the car. If anybody's watching and can let us know in the comments, that'd be appreciated. But I honestly forgot that they were right-hand drive until you mentioned it. We went on board with Dania there, but yeah, definitely an interesting thing to get used to. You know, you load into the original Riley Daytona Prototype on iRacing, and that's left-hand drive. So I don't know if it's the chassis they use that was set up for right-hand drive from like Prototype Challenge or what. But as we see Ty Marasco here, he's going to make use of this long run down to turn 1 to try and get the move done on the BMW and Miglin Daniel in front of him. But Miglin, man, I don't know if he's last of the late breakers or what, but runs deep and allows Marasco to get the move done after all.
Yeah, Marasco going to use that Ford horsepower to make that move stick. No pit stop required here in the 20-minute sprint race, so it's not necessarily a move as far as saving fuel that we would see here by Miglin. So we'll see if he's able to regroup and try and make a move on Marasco. But they've got our pole sitter Corey Rutherford right in behind him. Saw he moved to the back of the field here, and unfortunately I don't see him flagged for anything here in the system, so I'm not sure exactly what happened there, but we'll see if maybe we can pick that up a little later. But he's working his way back through the GT3 field. Rich got himself up into 5th place, and he's right there in that battle between Miglin and Marasco.
Yeah, and with this long straightaway, the draft will come into play. It's not as strong as you would expect it to be, but you definitely do notice it and have to adjust your braking to accommodate for it, as we saw with Miglin running a little bit deep into turn 1 there. But yeah, currently under pressure from our chief admin Corey Rutherford there. We'll see if he can hold off the pressure going into turn 1.
Yeah, it looked like the BMW got an excellent run through that final corner. Brian, Corey had the inside line. Miglin was on the outside. He just powered around on the outside with the Ferrari just wasn't able to keep up. So I'll have to keep an eye on that. See if maybe the Ferrari down a little bit on horsepower here on some of these quick, fast sweeping corners may come into play here. But we know Rutherford had the pace to put it up on pole. So I suspect we should see him probably make a move here on Miglin in short order.
Yeah, and as we see picture-in-picture there in your bottom right, Damian Dania is putting all kinds of pressure on Gunter for the lead there. He's showing the nose, trying to fake him out. Gets a good run out of that final corner. Now you get this long drag down to turn one. And, you know, as I was saying, as much as I missed the stadium section from the Grand Prix layout, the kind of banked half oval that they have with this layout, I almost kind of prefer, because when you nail it, it just gives you such an advantage on that run down to turn one. But Dania again wanting to show the nose there into turn one, but nothing doing. He opts to hang back, and Brody Gunter's going to lead again for now.
We'll go board here with Dania, see if we can try and generate a mistake here from Gunter. And we saw these two drivers battle tooth and nail last week at Daytona. Christopher Hill was in there too as well. I can't remember who else was up at the sharp end of the field for the prototype category, but they had a heck of a battle. There was a little bit of contact here and there, unfortunately, but for the most part it was all clean. And when somebody did make a mistake, they did actually back out and kind of give that place back, which is always nice to see courteous driving. But any ideas off the top of your head what the banking actually is on that oval section? I know it's not real steep. It's very, very kind of minor, but I don't know if I've ever actually read what the banking was on it.
It's very flat. I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but I know when I've tried running just the oval section, that is a configuration option in iRacing. It's almost like running a flat track, but there is ever so slightly a bank to it. I wouldn't say probably more than 5 or 7 degrees or whatever it is. But clearly when you nail it, it gives you a nice advantage on the run down to turn one.
Yeah, as we see Christopher Hill right in this battle now too as well, lurking in behind. For some reason SDK doesn't want to refresh his paint here on me, but that is him in the yellow Corvette. Last week he was driving the Wheeling Cadillac paint, which was a nice throwback paint. It was nice to see that on track. But all three of these cars looking strong early on. Dave Seats a little farther back there. He's pulled away from James Watson, but we'll see if the two of them can work their way back up there. Zin, if we see some battling from those top three, it won't take long for Seats and Watson to get into that battle too as well.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it won't take much battling from these top three guys to allow the rest of them to close up. But speaking of the battle, Christopher Hill has worked his way ever so slowly up into fighting to make this a three-way battle for the lead. Damian's using the draft to keep on the rear bumper of Brody in first, but it looks like Brody's got the pace through the second half of the lap, and Damian ends up kind of floating in this about half-second gap between first and third. So I'd say definitely Christopher Hill is in with a chance. He could be just sitting and waiting, seeing if these guys in front tangle like they did at Daytona, and he was able to slip through to take the win. But with it only being a 20-minute sprint race, you can't wait too long to try and make some moves.
Yeah, and we're quickly coming up on the halfway mark here with only 11 and a half minutes to go in this one. It's interesting how quickly 20 minutes goes by the wayside here, as in you're battling somebody on track, but they're going to continue to battle on. We got a battle in GT3 too as well, as Ty Marasco now is caught up into the back of Victor Aldrich. It's battle for second spot in GT3. And you can see there off in the distance, Ty Miglin and Corey Rutherford right there too as well. So I think we might have a four-car battle here for the final two steps on the podium in the first heat race.
Yeah, as you see there, before the camera cuts away, Ty was showing the nose. Oh, it looks like there was some contact. I don't know if that was Ty hitting the wall or maybe iRacing classic physics of spinning off of the Acura in front, but looks like the BMW involved in that as well. We're going to get a replay here. Go to our LAPD chopper cam. Gets in there. Ah, yes, classic iRacing physics where you can spin yourself off the rear of the car. Oh, and then Ty does not hold the brakes and ends up collecting the BMW. I believe that's of Miglin. Yes, it is. Ah, what a shame.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It looks like he's crab walking. Excuse me. I believe he was crab walking after that too as well. So unfortunately, some suspension damage for Miglin. He's towed back to the pits. So we'll see him in the feature race. I guess not so unfortunate for him though. He will be starting on pole for the 40-minute feature race. So we'll see how he does there. But up front, Brody Gunter still leading the way. Damien Dania in tow, and they've got Christopher Hill there too as well. But it looks like things starting to get spread out a little bit more between these three drivers.
Yeah, Christopher Hill's dropped back about 3/10 from where he was just a couple laps ago. But as I said, Brody, second half of the lap, definitely seems to have the pace over Damien. He's able to, make up a couple tenths that he loses with the draft going into turn 1 and 2 here under the braking. But seems to be in control at the moment. Not sure if Damien's going to be able to mount a challenge with how strong Brody's looking, but still 9 minutes to go. Anything can happen, as we've seen, and as we said earlier, all it takes is a little bit of battling between Brody and Damien, and Christopher will be right there to pounce on any little opportunity. Now we get some traffic in the mix as well, which could be a wild card.
As we see them working around Ken Estep, looks like they're going to get by fairly quickly there. But that is going to allow Daniel Hill to close right up on the back of Gunter's bumper. He couldn't quite get the move in around Estep as quick as he wanted. And it looks like Daniel going to make the play for top spot. Unable to get it in through the final corner, but Christopher Hill right there too as well to capitalize if and when these two come to blows here, Zin.
Yeah, I would look for one of these two guys to make a move heading down to turn 1 here. I don't know if it's going to be Christopher on Damien or Damien on Broder or all of the above. They might take it 3 wide here. They are going to take it 3 wide. Christopher wisely backs out there, but Damien is going to stick it down the inside and make it hold. And we have a new leader, Rob.
There we go. First lead change of the race, and it's going to come with just over 8 minutes left to go. Damien Dania, one of our camera cars, moving up into top spot. Now, when you're the carrot, Zin, it's a whole different ball game. You got to try and keep those guys in behind you now. Sometimes it's easier to chase, be the dog chasing the rabbit here. Some people prefer to be the rabbit. Myself, I always need that little bit of carrot in front of me to chase, to find the extra lap time. I find it tough when I'm out front. I spend too much time looking in the mirrors and behind. But we see, that was our leader, I believe, in GT3. No, it wasn't Maduro. That was Marasco that spun around just ahead of our prototype drivers as they came through that corners in. He's going to get it turned around back on track, but he is losing a ton of time.
Yeah, and you saw he didn't have a trunk from that, so I don't know if that was a result of the spin or if that was a result of when he backed up into the BMW of Miglin. But yeah, going back to your point, I find myself enjoying being the dog chasing the rabbit as well. It's easier to put pressure on than it is to get pressured from behind. So we'll see how Brody Gunter reacts to now being the chaser instead of the chasee, and see if he can reclaim that top spot.
Yeah, he's looking fairly calm, cool, and collected here right now in behind Dania with just under 7 minutes to go. We're doing just over a minute lap. Oh, he's going to try and make the move around the outside. I've seen a number of drivers try that so far. It's not going to work out for Gunter, but what I was saying is they're running just over a minute lap, minute 15 in the prototype. So they're going to have probably another 5, possibly 6 laps left once they cross the line. So you get a whole lot of laps here in 20 minutes. Looks like they're going to finish up in around the 15, 16 lap mark here in 20 minutes.
Well, and we were talking about how these guys battling was going to allow Christopher Hill to close in, but looks like the opposite has happened, as they're going to take it 3 wide to pass our admin, Corey Rutherford, there on the inside. But they have dropped Christopher Hill off the back of this battle as they're 2 wide through the final corners. That is a ballsy move from these guys, and they're still 2 wide all the way down in turn 1.
Yeah, let's take a look at what happened to Christopher Hill here to drop him back. Was tucked in right behind. Oh, looks like he's going to get into the grass and slide around. But luckily, he found the one spot with some runoff there where he didn't go off into the wall, so he'll get it turned around back on track. But that's why he's falling back there now. It's only a 2-car battle up front. again, unless something happens. But in behind them, they just went around Corey Rutherford. He's got himself up into podium position here. Final step on the podium for our pole sitter in GT3, who is on a bit of a recovery run, as I mentioned. Dropped to the back early on, and I think we might have a replay here of what actually happened there for Corey Rutherford. So let's take a look here at the race start. So we're having a look at Rutherford. It looks like he just a slow start, got passed by a couple cars, then just chose to back out of it into turn one here, as in take the safe route and not get wrapped up into anything, as that package GT3 is running through here.
Yeah, as they say, discretion is the better part of valor, but we say that he looks like he's going to take a very tight line on the inside of the Acura there, but wisely backs off at the start of the race. No need to make any daring moves on lap one, turn one. But yeah, and he's been rewarded for it, as others in front of him have had issues and mistakes. But as we see, Damian Danias fall back to second. Not sure how that swap back for positions happened, but Corey Rutherford or Brody Gunter there was using the Acura as a pick a little bit.
Let's take a look here and see, as it happened just as they were passing Corey Rutherford. Looked like Gunter was able to use that around the outside to take that spot. They went back and forth a couple times, but Gunter gets the better run down the front straight, and he takes over that spot with, I think, a 1X at the same time, but going to use that extra runoff to get himself up top. So we'll see if Dania can regroup here, as he's fallen back a little bit, just about a second back now of our leader Gunter. So he's still within draft, but just here at the moment, Tim.
Yeah, I think Brody Gunter will take that trade every day of the week to get a 1X to regain the lead there with that wide run off of the final corner and being able to carry more speed than Damian. But yeah, you have to wonder for Damian, as hard as he was working to get up to and past Brody throughout this sprint race, if maybe he's overheated the tires and needs to back off a little bit to cool him down. But still in the draft, as you said, only about half second back and closing in at the end of the straightaway, but not close enough to do anything with it going into the brake zone for turn one and turn two.
Yeah, we should also mention that these prototype drivers driving on a very old tire model for iRacing 2, as well, as iRacing doesn't necessarily update the tire models on the legacy cars, which these actually fall under as legacy vehicles. And I actually I didn't own the vehicle, and then I watched these guys race last week's in, and I thought, heck, that car looks like a heck of a lot of fun. I went and bought it and did a few laps this week, and it was a ton of fun. I don't know why more leagues don't use this old prototype car. It was a ton of fun. It has no ABS, no traction control, so it's just a driver's car, but it's got a ton of downforce. And you know what? It may have an old tire model, but it felt kind of great to me.
Yeah, it's easily one of my favorites. I love driving the old prototypes. Like I said, it's my only regret of not being on iRacing sooner than I was to miss out on the days of the C7 Daytona Prototype, the HPD, and all those cars. And to your point, I don't know why more leagues don't run the Daytona Prototype. It is a fantastic car. It is a driver's car, as you said. And as we're seeing from Brody and Damian through at least the first 2 weeks of the season, it puts on fantastic racing.
Absolutely. We got a battle brewing here a little farther back. We got Brian Dees and Rob Henry battling for 6th and 7th place. We're on board here with Henry now in the Martini paint scheme, as he's trying to chase down Brian Dees up ahead. Real late on the brakes there for Henry. Closed in quite a bit on Dees, but unable to make a move at the end of the first straight. He's going to try and work his way through the infield section here, but they're going to have one more lap to go next time buys in. So getting down to the nitty gritty for our battle for top spot, and then this battle here for 6th and 7th place.
Yeah, Rob Henry definitely got a better run through Sector 1 there as he closes up on the back of Brian Dees, and not sure if he's close enough to make a move. See if he's patient enough to wait until the final corner, maybe. Trying to get a battle run. Not sure if we are on 2 to go or 1 to go. Or coming up to the white flag, but only a minute left.
Yeah, we're still on 2 to go here right now. They haven't come across the start-finish line. Actually, sorry, they just did. They're on the final lap here now. The leaders, I was focused more on this battle here as they're coming across the line to start their final lap here now. So they pick up the white flag. We see the battle for top spot on the inlay, but it looks like the battle here between Dees and Henry not going to go by the wayside, as we see Henry trying to make a move using that draft on the back of Dees. Is he going to make a move into the corner here at the end of the first straight? He is not in, so he's going to stay tucked in behind for the rest of the lap here and try and find another way around. But Damian Dania slowly pulling back in Brody Gunter, but unfortunately I think he's going to run out of time here.
Yeah, I think he'd be opting to maybe start in front of Brody with the invert and the feature race. But regardless, it was a fantastic battle between these two cars and Christopher Hill for the first half of the race as well before he had his little half spin. But coming off the final corner, it's going to be Brody Gunter is going to take the sprint win here in Mexico City, followed closely behind by Damian Dania about 9/10 of a second back.
Yeah, nice battle for the two of them. Unfortunately, Christopher Hill, for him, he's going to finish in third, but he fell back to 22 seconds back after that incident he had. But we see Dees and Henry making their run through the final corner now. Looks like Brian Dees going to hold off the charge from Rob Henry to take home 6th place in the prototype class. And then just across the line moments ago was Keon Maduro in the GT3. He takes the win. Victor Aldrich going to finish in 2nd spot, and Ty Marasco right now making his way through. He's going to finish up in 3rd place by the looks of it.
Yeah, that Mustang is looking worse for wear, but at the end of the day, he's still going to get a podium out of this. So I guess the results belay the effort.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to take advantage of an incident for Corey Rutherford on the last lap. Let's take a look and see what happened to him. Oh, just coming out of that corner, got a little loose, tried to collect it up, but unfortunately he just lost the back end around through there, and so he was just straight towing it back to the pits at that point in time. So it looks like everything should be wrapped up here for heat number 1's in. Let's take a look at the final results. We see Majuro taking top spot in GT3 ahead of Aldrich, Marasco, Estep, Rutherford, and Miglin. And then over in the C7 class, we've got Gunter taking the win over Daniel Hill. Seats Watson, Dees, Henry Fleming, and Joshua Rutherford round out your field. So I'll have a quick little 5-minute warm-up. We'll come back to kick off the 40-minute heat racing. So we'll be back in a few moments. Stick around.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series in officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Okay, welcome back. We are back, and looks like we've got one of our drivers from race 1, Brody Gunter, our race winner from race 1. Welcome in, Brody. Heck of a race there. You and Damian Daniel really battled out, swapping positions on the last few laps. You were able to come home with top spot on the podium. How was racing these old cars around Mexico City?
Yeah, so very fun. I mean, this track is a lot of fun with very different sections, with the very slow technical section of turn 1 through 3, the kind of like I'd say a faster speed hairpin of turn 4, and then the very high speed S is where you can use a lot of the racetrack without getting any penalties and off tracks in some cases. And then obviously the very fun long flat right hander. But it was very fun, this car, even with the difficult braking at times it experiences. But I still had fun battling, and I was just happy to hold them off.
Yeah, we saw a couple of cars get a little squirrely with the rear brakes here this evening, but we saw it a bunch of times last week at Daytona too as well. Are you guys just running a lot of rear brake bias? Is that just natural attributes of this older prototype car?
No, so I'm assuming everyone's probably staying at the stock, which is 58% to the front. So it's just that's just kind of how the car drives. I mean, it locks up the rears before the fronts, even though there's more front brake. Just one of the, I think, classic issues probably iRacing had in the early years, and just obviously since this car hasn't pushed the backbone, it hasn't been probably fixed since the updates since then. But it's still a very fun car to drive. I like the kind of code physics to it, and the handling, and obviously just the Corvette in general is just a very cool, awesome car. But I think it being combined with these newer GT3s is a very interesting, and so far been very fun combination.
Yeah, it's been interesting to see the comparison between the old technology and the new technology. And I was actually mentioning to Brian in the booth here during the broadcast that I didn't own this car. And then after last week's race, it looked like a ton of fun. You guys out there, I went and bought it and did a bunch of laps. And I was saying, yeah, it feels like a real driver's car. It feels lively. It has that old tire model, but it feels like you can actually drive. It feels more like a car than some of the newer prototypes. I just feel like they're just so planted onto the road. But we got the 40-minute feature race coming up here. Brody, you're going to be inverting the field. How do you think you're going to be able to get through the lap traffic here?
Well, I wish I could stick around, but I already told Corey, but with my college schedule, I will not be able to probably run any of the second races for this entire season, so that's kind of why I left last week at the Daytonas. I'll probably just run the first one, and then Corey told me to start, at least take one lap in the second one to get points, and then I'm going to have to sadly depart so I can go to bed and get ready for my class. It's early tomorrow morning.
It's unfortunate, but school always comes first, Brody. So best of luck in that. And I guess we'll see you back next week at Indy Road for the first race of the evening.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Take care. Have a good one.
You guys too.
So that was our race one winner, Brody Gunter. We've got about 20 seconds left of the warm up here to go, and then we'll be getting into some more racing action here coming up. Couple drivers on track putting in some warm-up laps here, getting ready for race number 2, which again is going to be a 40-minute feature race. Our drivers will be fuel limited on that one, so they'll have to come in, make a pit stop at some point in time. Not sure if we'll see any strategy or not. Will drivers take tires? Maybe they'll just take front tires. Maybe they won't take any. Generally a 40-minute race in the GT3s, they can run that easily without any tire issues in.
Yeah, with these being on the old tire model, not 100% sure what the tire wear is like, but definitely will be interesting with the prototype starting behind the GT3s with a full field invert versus just a class invert. So should be quite fun. As you said, 40 minutes on the clock instead of 20, so double the time, double the action. We're getting ready to go.
Yeah, we got the cars gridding up here for race number 2. Now, last week they gridded up this way, but during the pace lap, they actually inverted the field, switched it around. So we'll see if they do that again this week. I think it'd kind of be interesting to watch the prototypes have to go through the GT3s right at the very start. But on pole is going to be Dan Meglin with Corey Rutherford to his outside. Ken A-Step in third with Ty Marasco starting in fourth. And then 5th and 6th place going to go to Victor Aldrich, our top 2 cars for race number 1 in GT3. And then the prototype field, we're going to see Joshua Rutherford starting in top spot. And there we go. We see them inverting here too again as well, letting the prototypes up through. But Joshua Rutherford going to start in top spot with Travis Fleming to his outside. Rob Henry and Brian Dees, we saw them battling down to the line here in race number 1. We're going to start in row number 2. 5th place going to go to Jade Watson with Dave Seeks to his outside. Christopher Hill in 7th, Damian Dania in 8th, and Brody Gunter, as he just told us in the interview there, unfortunately unable to do the second race due to school. He's going to do one lap and then duck off. So we'll see if Christopher Hill has anything to offer Damian Dania here in the 40-minute feature race, Sid.
Yeah, definitely will be interesting to see Damian with the pace that he showed in the first race work his way through these Daytona prototypes in front of him. You know, sometimes it's a case of somebody that's used to leading is a little bit less used to working through traffic, but I suspect Damian won't have any issues given his results from last week at Daytona. But Joshua Rutherford is going to lead him around with that forced class split that you saw there, with the prototypes moving up to the front. and he's going to be in control of the field after they get around and the BMW M2 pace car pulls off back in the pit lane.
Yes, sir. And see a bunch of cars weaving around, trying to warm up their tires. I don't know if they'll do anything on that old tire model of the C7, but the GT3s, it definitely would. But 40 minutes action coming our way. They're about halfway through their pace lap here, going in through, I guess you'd call this section the S's, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Tricky setup through here is in those raised curves. They don't necessarily look all that raised from this camera angle here, but I can let you know that they are a heck of a elevation on them. You can bottom out some cars through there. These prototypes probably bottom out if you try and cut across the middle. The GT3s can navigate it easily, but it will unsettle the car, and I've seen many a car go off into those walls on the outside. I've done it myself a number of times too as well, so drivers are going to have to be really cautious through there, because they're going to have cold tires on lap 1.
Yeah, and definitely at Mexico City in the GT3 car, you have to use those curbs to get the most pace out of the car. But as you said, it's a very fine line between nailing it properly and then nailing the wall.
It certainly is. They're heading into the final section here before we kick off the 40-minute race. This is part of the oval. This would be, what would that be? Turn 3 and 4 of the oval, I guess it is. As 1 and 2 would be after the start-finish line. So through 3 and 4 of the oval section. Kind of wish we were running the stadium section. I like that whole coming into, it's got the whole soccer pitch type feel to it, where you come in, you got the fans kind of crowd around you like you're in a bowl. But here we go, 40 minutes action kicking off. Josh Rutherford and Travis Fleming going to lead the run down into turn 1. This looks like, again, we're going to fan out 3, 4, and 5 wide here into turn 1, Sid.
Yeah, this is going to be quite interesting as they funnel down into turn 1. If they keep it 3 wide, 2 rows deep here. We see brakes from, smoke from brake lock up there, I should say. Looks like the Martini car got a little assistance in the back there. Rob Henry is currently parked on the exit of turn 1. But looks like everybody else got through cleanly. We are still green at the moment.
Looks like Henry got it back on track, but James Watson up to the sharp end of the field. Joshua Rutherford going to drop down into second place, but Christopher Hill already got himself up 4 spots into third place. Damian Daniel was unable to go with him, so Hill, we saw, was looking a little potent in race 1 in third place, and just kind of watching what was going on up ahead of him here. Zandy's been able to get ahead of Damian Daniel. We'll see if he can leap out in front and maybe break the draft and see if he can kind of get away from Daniel. Oh, there was Joshua Rutherford into the outside wall.
Yeah, and he's blinking a little bit there, so not sure he even knew that he had gotten on the wall, but looked like he was going to try a Ross Chastain move there through turns 11 and 12. But he's tucked up in the draft of Christopher Hill now. He's going to look to the inside going down in turn 1. See if he tries to late brake, chooses to back off there, and now he's going to come under attack from, who's that, Travis Fleming? No, it's Damian Dania. He's finally making his way through.
Yeah, Dave Seats tried to go with Dania, unfortunately was unable to do it, but Joshua Rutherford going to go to the outside. Looks like he's going to concede that position to Seats. See if he tucks in behind him here and tries to find a little bit of pace. But Brody Gunter, he said he was only going to do 1 lap here. Right now he's on his 2nd lap, so he might have fooled us a little bit here, trying to fool the competition as he's moved himself up into 5th place here. But James Watson looking strong up front. Brought himself home in, I think, about 4th place in race number 1, but looking strong here.
Yeah, definitely looking strong. He's taking advantage of starting near the front with the invert, and he's currently trying to get as far ahead of Christopher Hill as he can, knowing the pace that Hill had in race 1. Looked like there was an incident between Travis Fleming. Not sure what dropped him back into the clutches of the GT3 field, but going back to, as we see Brody Gunter pulling a pit lane now, I was going to say, maybe he got tempted with how good this car drives to be like, yeah, I can push my bedtime 30 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. What's another 20 minutes before bed? Let's just it's just forget about brushing your teeth or putting your pajamas on. Just go climb in bed. Be done with it.
Yeah,
But
exactly. Exactly.
Watson still leads the way, but Christopher Hill starting to reel him in, and then we can see our GT3 battle there on the inlay between Keon Maderno and Victor Aldrich as Dan Miglin's starting to pull away. You can see him just up ahead in distance there, that BMW. They're starting to reel him back in as Maderno is still trying to get a little bit of heat in his tires, weaving left and right. Starting to push forward to try and catch Miglin. We saw Miglin unfortunately got wrapped up in that incident, had the suspension damage in race 1, but it did allow him to start on the pole here for race 2.
Yeah, Miglin happy that he is at the opposite end of the GT3 field from Ty Marasco after the incident that they had in race 1, but he's making the most of it, trying to stay in front of Keon Maduro, but Maduro is closing rapidly. I suspect there might be a pass for the lead going on very soon, but speaking of closing in, as you see on your screen there, Christopher Hill closing in very closely to James Watson, using the draft to his advantage on the run down to turn 1 and 2. Watson using the curbing there to try and maximize every inch of track and keep in front of Christopher Hill. Hill's not bothered at all. He's keeping the pressure applied as they make their way down to turn 4.
Yeah, these should be fairly comparable drivers on skill level. James Watson 3.2k I rating, Christopher Hill 3.1k I rating, so theoretically should be very similar skill sets between them. Damian Danny in third place, 3.6k I rating, but they've got almost 2.5 seconds over him right now, so Danny has some work to try and catch those two up ahead. He's got Dave Seats right behind him. Seats trying to stay in the draft of Danny and say, you know what, Damien, if you're going up there to catch those guys, take me with you, please. We can all battle it out for those 3 podium positions. But right now, it looks like it's comfortably in hand for James Watson. If those two just stay nose to tail here's in, they might be able to pull away from Danny using the draft and working together.
Yeah, definitely. You know, Christopher Hill is, with it being a 40-minute race, probably sitting there saying, you know what, I'll work with you, James. Let's build a nice lead over the cars behind us, and then we'll look to fight maybe after the pit stops happen. But there was an incident that happened with Corey Rutherford as he just gets steamrolled by the Mustang there. But I was going to say there was an issue with our challenger to the GT3 lead, Keon Maduro, but I don't know if that was him in the Mustang that drove through Corey Rutherford.
Yeah, that was him there. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but as you mentioned, look, he almost just drove right through him. I'm not sure if maybe Rutherford got a little slow through the S's section or what. Let's see if we can take another look here for maybe the chopper and see what happens. So Rutherford up ahead, the purple car, and just Maduro got a better run through there and just basically just drove into the left corner of Rutherford and spun him around. So probably not going to be all that happy about that. We'll see what the stewards say later on in the race, but we still got a battle up front, and we still got 33 minutes to go.
Man, with the way these guys are driving, you think there was 3 minutes to go, but as we see, there's been a change for the lead. Christopher Hill has gotten around James Watson, and so now they will look to work together to try and pull away from third place. As we see, Christopher Hill gets the over-under coming out of, I think it's turn 2 there.
Yeah, it looks like he got a better run on the inside, and as you mentioned, Watson just kind of pulled out, let him go. It's the last thing you want to do is battle a whole lot and allow Danny to close up, but he has been able to close now in the draft, only about 8/10 backs in, so we'll see what he has to offer. He was battling with Brody Gunter in race 1. He unfortunately wasn't able to take that spot away from Gunter, had to settle for second place, but sitting in third right now. We know he has the pace, but does he have enough pace to not only catch Watson and Hill, but to get around them?
Yeah, definitely. You know, there's a saying in racing that catching is one thing, passing is something completely different, and I suspect that might be on display here in this race. But Damien has definitely closed the gap to James in front, and not far up the road is his final target in Christopher Hill, as he wants to move one step better than he was in the sprint race and try and win this thing. But Daniel Miglin, I saw that there was the yellow flag next to his name earlier. Not sure if he had an off track or what, but that gap that he had built up after Keanu had his issues has come down very quickly to Victor Aldrich in the Acura, and Keanu is back to hunt for the lead as well, as it's now a 3-car battle for the GT3 lead.
Yeah, it looks like Aldrich going to go a little wide. Car got a little loose through the final corner. Maduro can take that spot away and now set his sights on Miglin. So we'll see here if Miglin able to defend the charge of Maduro, as he's looking strong in GT3. And another driver looking strong is our third place driver right now, Damian Dania. Got his sight set on James Watson up ahead. Watson falling back a little bit off Christopher Hill. So he'll probably love it to see that in behind. He'd love to see those two battle and maybe break away from that duo.
Yeah, race cars don't have speakers attached to their exteriors, but if they did, I suspect Damien's got the theme to the Jaws queued up right now and blaring it on 11, as he is currently the shark hunting the Corvette Daytona Prototype in front of him, driven by James Watson. As he pulls out of the draft on the run down to turn 1, he's going to try and make a move here.
Oof. Watson gets a little squirrely on the brakes, locked up the right rear too as well, was able to get collected up, but wasn't able to defend that move from Watson all that much, as he was worried more about trying to collect that car up and not get into it and take the two of them out. But that's going to allow Dave Seats now right up into this action. You can see them battling up ahead. All he needs here right now is maybe one more battle between these three, and he'll be comfortably into the draft and have his shot here at a top 3 position.
Yeah, he wanted Damien to bring him with him, and he got his wish. He's now very shortly behind this battle for the lead. As you said, all it would take is one small battle or side-by-side moment of the cars in front, and he's right in that mix. But even without that battle, and doesn't look like it's going to be far or too long until he's battling James Watson for the final step on the podium.
I think you're right. Christopher Hill trying to run away, but unable to do it. But we had a pass for a top spot in GT3 as Maduro was able to go around Miglin. Let's take a look and see exactly how that came to be. The toss spots back and forth a couple times, but then this is the final move here by Maduro to get himself up in the top spot. We've seen a number of moves into this corner here, as in the driver just stays out wide and the overtake comes on the inside. So seems like an opportune position if you're just going to let that driver move around on the inside. You notice that he has a better run. You don't really want to battle. Tuck in back as quick as you can. It seems like a real optimal spot to allow that pass to happen, as we're going to have a little bit of excitement here for top spot, as Dania has now caught Christopher Hill.
Yeah, Dania is there. He is squarely on the back of Christopher Hill's rear bumper now, and won't be long till they're catching the back of the GT3 field, so you're going to have some slower class traffic thrown in the mix as well. And just as Dania has caught Christopher Hill in front of him, so too has Seats has caught James Watson as well. So might be having two different battles that could redefine the order of the podium. And we're not even halfway yet, Rob.
But we saw these two drivers kind of similar positions at the end of race 1, but it was inverted where Watson was trying to chase down Seats. Now we have the reverse. We'll see if Seats can chase down Watson here, but they can see that battle up ahead. They would love to see them battle a little bit here to get up into this top spot. But right now, Hill and Dania pulling away. Dania hasn't looked too aggressive since he's caught onto the back of Hill, probably recognizing that he's still got 27 and a half minutes or so to go in this race. No real need to push the envelope. No real need to get aggressive. They're going to come into some lap traffic. They got the Mustang of Ty Marasco just ahead of them too as well. So he might be a factor here. We'll see if maybe Dania can take advantage, or maybe Hill can take advantage of that lap traffic and place it between he and Dania, where Dania's going to have to wait a second or two longer to make the move.
Yeah, you get to the point now where you start playing mind games depending on what position you're in. If you're Hill, you're trying to use the GT traffic, which bails into pit lane, so there goes that plan. But if you're Dania, you kind of fake pressure a little bit, try and think that, maybe you're going to be a little bit more aggressive, maybe show the nose a few times. But you know in the back of your mind that you're either just trying to wait for the pit stop or, what do I know? He's just going to make the move for turn 1 right away, isn't he?
He's going to try. Unfortunately, he doesn't get it done through turn 2 and 3. He's going to have to hold on to it. Here, potentially making a move in turn 4. They got that second or third place battle not too far back, so they can't afford to battle here too much, Rich, unless they want to allow them to catch in here. But they're working their way in through turn 5, 6 through the S's now. And again, keep your eye on here. This is where I mentioned that the prototypes will bottom out a little bit if they get a little aggressive over these curbs. You'll see some sparks kicking out. There it is, Dan. You see that car bouncing and hopping over the curbs. Couple sparks kicking out. That's going to cost him a tenth or two, and you see that gap open up a little bit over hill, relieve some of the pressure, but it's also allowing Watson and Cease to get into as well. You see them inching ever so closer in the background.
Yeah, Damien just throwing that car in there aggressively into turn 11 there. Didn't seem to compromise his run at all, and now he's going to use that draft to mitigate any losses he might have had. But Christopher Hill is kind of a sitting duck at the moment. He can't really take a defensive line because then compromises you for turn 2 and the run down to turn 3. Danny again going to stick it up the inside, but immediately the track goes back to the left, which favors the outside car, and Christopher Hill's going to hold on to the lead for another go-round. But looking at the track map, these two battles for first and second and third and fourth are about to close in on the battle for second and third in GT3. So it's going to be a matter of who wants to give and who wants to take, with everybody fighting for their own race going on at the moment.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens when they catch up to those two. As I just had a look, and we had a little bit of contact between second and third place in GT3. It's where you see a little bit of smoke coming up there on screen. They had a little bit of contact coming through, kind of similar to what we saw happen between Maduro and Rutherford. Both of them were able to carry on, so bring them up on the picture-in-picture. You can see them just ahead, working their way through the final corner. And there come our leaders. They're going to catch them on the front straight, but will they catch them before turn 1?
I don't know. That's going to be a very good question. As you said, at Daytona, it seemed like at the end of the long straightaways, these cars were about the same speed. So if they are able to catch them, I'm not sure they're going to have enough speed to get past them. But as we see, Dania pulls out sooner than he has in laps past, and now he's going to be squarely in front going into the brake zone versus just alongside as he was the last couple of laps. Gets that move done, slams the door on Hill so he doesn't have the opportunity to cross him back over, and now we have a new leader as they're approaching the second place battle in GT3s.
Yeah, we do. Damien Dania up into top spot of prototype class. Ooh, was probably a bad spot for them to catch these cars.
Yeah, in the S's it's going to be very tough.
So they make their way around Aldrich. They still have to deal with Miglin, but looks like they... Oh, Christopher Hill making a move on the inside. Danny locks up, takes that spot away. What a move there by Christopher Hill. So we'll see now if Davey and Dania can kind of work the same kind of magic using that lap car that we just saw Christopher Hill do. Looks like unfortunately he's not going to be able to. Is Hill going to navigate around him? Into the final corner they go, but we've seen Dania make the move. He tried 3 times and finally worked on the 3rd time into turn 1. Zin. Is he going to try it again here on the inside, or is he going to try and get himself onto the outside this time?
No, he's going to make that move for a 4th time. He's going to pull out even earlier than he did last lap. He's going to try and get fully in front going down into the brake zone for turn 1. He's only about 3/4 of the way ahead right now. Christopher Hill is going to back out, try and get the crossover done. Fortunately, the door shut, no doing there. And just like last lap, Damian Dania is going to have the lead coming out of turn 2 and turn 3. But yeah, Dania checked up a little bit for that BMW of Miglin in front. Christopher Hill said, I'm not waiting. I'm going to use that GT car as a pick. Was made a very aggressive move, but a very clean and respectful move as well. Took that lead back, but I say that, and Christopher Hill has got his way back in front of the lead. So not sure if there was a lockup there or what happened with Dania, but they've swapped positions yet again. What a show these guys are putting on.
Yeah, Hill just took the inside line into 4, and Daniel just kind of gave it to him. But we're seeing Dave's seat starting to get closer here. The more they battle, it's allowing him in earshot of them. He can almost hear the negotiating between these two drivers up ahead of him. He's dropped James Watson off the back of him. here is in. Unfortunately, Watson falling back. We'll see if maybe he can get himself regrouped up here again. Daniel going to go to the inside, but late move here this time versus the early move we've seen the last couple times. Looks like Hill going to give him that spot again, knowing that he's crossed him over in the past into turn 4. See if he's able to try to get a little bit of contact there between the two of them. That's going to promptly allow Seats right up into this battle. He's got perfect shot of this battle here. Is Hill going to try and go around the outside? Oh no, Seats locks up the rear end and around he goes, unfortunately for him. So he was like getting up into that battle.
The left side wheels on the grass there.
See if we can take a look here what happened to him. As he had finally got himself up into this battle, and then not sure if it was grass or just you got it. There's in the left rear, just onto the grass and around he went.
Yeah, it's got to be gutting for Seats. You know, you're focused on that battle in front. You're like, I'm here, I'm ready to capitalize, and you just drift over half a tire width onto the grass, and that's all it wrote. So he's going to gather himself up. Thankfully, he didn't hit anything or anybody, so that car is still, for all intents and purposes, clean and intact, and still have a pit stop. So there's still some strategy at play. He could potentially do an undercut or something else to get back in this mix, but Dania doesn't have to make a move this time down into turn 1. He solidly got a lead that time going down into the 1-2 complex, and he's going to look to try and put some space between him and Christopher Hill. And meanwhile, Hill, I'm sure, is itching to try and repay the favor that Dania has done to him for the last 5 or 6 laps, it seems like.
Yeah, absolutely. And they got a lap car. I think it's not necessarily a lap car. That's the GT3 leader of Maduro up ahead. They're going to catch him in the S's. Looks like Dania had to wait a half a second or so before he can make the move. That's going to allow Hill to close back in a little bit on the rear bumper. But again, he had to wait too as well, as he caught Maduro at the following S. So unfortunately, Hill had an opportunity to potentially close that gap a little bit. But lap traffic giveth and taketh away, and it taketh away on both those drivers that time there, Zin.
Yeah, that's the beauty of multi-class racing. It's why I love it. It's my favorite thing to do. And you know, for Maduro, he's sitting there. I've got 15 seconds over second place. I'll just stay wide and let these guys do their thing. But in the process, they had to run a not normal line, which slowed both of them down and allowed that gap to close into about a second between Hill and Dania.
Yeah, we see that battle for third place coming up right behind Maduro here now between Watson and Seats. We saw Seats have that spin and allowed Watson to get back by ahead of him. So we'll see if these two renew their battle here for final step on the podium. As Watson going to move around the inside of Maduro. Looks like Seats going to have to wait, not able to make that move too as well. So that's going to work out well for Watson. He'll be able to put a little bit of breathing space between he and Seats. See if they
especially going into this S's section.
Yeah, tough section to make an overtake. Our second place driver in GT3, Daniel Miglin, he's got a comfortable gap over Ty Marasco. 42 seconds right now between he and Marasco. That's almost a full pit stop time here between he and Marasco. So comfortably in second place, 16 seconds back of Keon Maduro, and then, as I mentioned, Ty Marasco, the Ford driver. So we got Ford in first and third right now. Is in with the BMW. He's currently sitting in second place. Unfortunately, for a couple of our Ferraris that are out.
Yeah, Maduro just had an incident going through the final corner. I don't know if it was a result of Prototype passing him or if he just lost it on his own, but that left side of his Mustang is smashed in.
That might have been from that contact earlier with Rutherford, or no, that would have been on the right front. So yeah, I'm not sure. I don't see anything flagged here for him as far as an incident. So unfortunately, whatever it was, it didn't flag an incident, so we can't go back and take a look at it. But it looks like the battle between Watson and Seats continuing on here as our leader, Damian Dania, has opened up 1.2 seconds now over Christopher Hill in second place. So looks like Dania now that he's gotten out front into some fresh air, clean air, he's been able to pull away from Hill, and looks like the battle right now is for third and fourth place.
Yeah, we'll see as we're approaching 17 minutes to go, and I'm sure getting into the pit window for these Daytona Prototypes if Hill will look to try and use the pit stop strategy to make up some of that time deficit at the moment. But closest battle on the track is the one you're watching at the moment between Dave Seats and James Watson. Seats recovering from that spin that he had, getting the left rear on the grass, and looking to recover at least back to the last step on the podium. So they've got the Acura of Victor Aldrich in front of them playing a factor as well.
Yeah, Aldrich hold tight to the left, doesn't want to get involved in that. And let them through, and they'll renew that battle. Looks like Seats able to take a tenth or two out of Watson through that section. We'll see now here Seats able to mount a charge. Have a look at their quickest laps between these two drivers. Dave Seats 115.28 to Watson's 115.35, so very comparable on lap times here, the best lap times between the two of them, so should be in store here for a nice battle for third place. We'll see if any pit strategy, as you mentioned, comes into play here. Zin, the Seats maybe try for the undercut, come in before Watson, try and get himself out ahead. Maybe if he had a little bit of clean air, he can run a quicker lap. Because maybe Watson come in first, try and relieve some of that pressure from Seats in behind, and try and get him some clear air.
Yeah, definitely a couple different options at play. Which one will be the best option remains to be seen. But speaking of pit stops, our top two in GT3 have come in and made their stops and have reemerged. And for our third place GT3 car, Ty Marasco, he comes out right in front of the battle for the lead. So that's going to bunch Dania and Hill back up together.
Yeah, looks like that was definitely worked out in the favor of Christopher Hill. As I mentioned, that gap had been about 1.2, 1.3 seconds, so almost a whole half a second gain there by Hill, as Dania had to back out for that lap traffic, wasn't able to move around him. So see now if Hill able to mount a charge. I'm not sure what the tire wear is like on these old prototypes in, or even if you can really overheat the tires by pushing really hard. I wonder if maybe Christopher Hill kind of overworked those front tires as he was battling with Damian Dania and has lost a little bit of front grip here, or maybe he's just pulling back a little bit, trying to save some fuel.
Not sure, but Dania, as you saw, dives into the pit, so he's going to be the first of our Daytona prototypes to come down pit lane. But Dave Seats is closed right back. Actually, yes, he's closed right back to the back of James Watson. He's going to look to make the move to the inside on the run down to turn one here. He's alongside, and he gets the job done. A little puff of smoke there from James Watson on the right front as he locks up. No harm, no foul. There's no flat spots in iRacing to worry about, but Dave Seats covers his way back to third at the moment, looking to see if he can maybe close up the gap through pit stops, and we're hoping for a mistake from our top two Daytona Prototype drivers.
So I'm just having a look here now. It looks like Dania did not pit. He had a connection issue. Basically, I'm listening to radio comms in the session here, and it sounds like he blinked out for almost the entire front straight, according to Christopher Hill. So hopefully that connection issue squares itself up a little bit here, as you'd hate to see somebody's race go by the wayside by a connection issue here. But that's what happened there. We're still waiting for our top five drivers to come in and pit. That's Dania, Hill, Seats, Watson, and Henry. The rest of the field has come in to serve their pit cycle here, Zin.
Yeah, if I'm Christopher Hill, I'm wondering what that connection hack was that he just did, because he pulled out half a second with that blink. So definitely worked out in favor of Dania. But yes, absolutely, we do not want to see this race decided by a connection issue. These guys have earned the right to fight to the end with this, and it's been entertaining to watch, and I'm sure entertaining for both of those drivers in the cockpit battling it out as well.
Absolutely, you are correct. Top back here to the battle between Seats and Watson. So Seats was able to get around Watson, but Watson not letting him go, holding steady about half a second back. Again, both these drivers still owe us a pit stop. We haven't seen any kind of strategy plays here amongst our battles. Everybody that's come into pit has basically not been involved in the battle, so there's no real strategy there. But Seats almost losing the back end through the S's. as they exit out. That's going to allow Watson to close back in. Only 2/10 now separating these two drivers as they head into turn 11 and 12 zone.
Yeah, and they've got the BMW of Miglin in front that they may potentially look to, as we see Watson dive in the pit lane there. So any impact Miglin was going to have is negated by Watson coming down to make his pit stop, which I believe just leaves our top 3 left to make a pit stop.
Yeah, our top 3, and looks like 5th place, Rob Henry. Still owes us a stop to as well, the Martini car. He's heading by pit entrance there now, so he's going to go around one more time, but we head back up to the battle here, working through the lap traffic at GT3 Machines too as well, heading by our leader, Maduro. That again is going to allow Christopher Hill to close that gap up, so looks like Hill getting the better of the lap traffic here the last couple laps here, Brian. He's been able to use that to his advantage, but then we've seen properly where Damian Dania just kind of puts the throttle down and opens that gap back up again once they get clear air.
Yeah, Hill definitely seems to be better at navigating the traffic, whether it's just timing or simply better reads. But Dania definitely shown that he has a little bit better outright pace, as Dania is the first of our top 3 to call into the pits, as we see him slow down the pit speed and make his way down to the pit box. Christopher Hill, he's going to go around for another lap, try and use that clean air to get a qualifying pace lap, as Michael Schumacher used to call it during his days, to build up a lead so that when Hill does make his way down pit road, he can either leapfrog or be right on the gearbox of Dania's Corvette.
Keep an eye on Dania's pit time. So 6.9 seconds in his stall, 33.5 seconds on and off pit road from cone to cone. So that's what Christopher Hill has to deal with. He's really, as you mentioned, really needs to put in that qualifying lap pace on this extra lap here. Really trying to suck out that advantage with the lighter car, less fuel load here. See, I suspect we'll probably see him pop in this time by to answer the pit call from Damian Dania heading into the final couple corners here now. We'll see if he pulls in.
Yeah, and Hill fortunate to have a clear track in front of him. As we see him, yes, he is going to come to pit lane this time by, so now we are going to watch and see where he cycles out and Dania's pace.
We'll pick back up Dania. He's now heading through the S's. We know that leads into the final corner here. Coming up,
a couple GT cars in front of him, but I don't think they'll pose a problem.
Yeah, it should be fine. Hill is in and out of his stall, 7.4 seconds, so he's still exiting pit road. Dania coming down. It's going to be close. Hill at the outlap marker, but Dania's going to have a full head of steam. He should take top spot back, but Hill going to be right in there to his left or his right side into the draft. So we're going to have a battle here the last 8 minutes and about 45 seconds to go as they're working their way around the lap car of that is Ty Marasco, our 3rd place GT3 driver. He's going to move to the left and let them through.
Yeah, that is not what Dania wanted coming out of the pits, was, or having to fend off Hill coming out of the pits, was to deal with the lap car going through turns 2 and 3, but that's exactly what Hill wanted, to be able to allow him to get up to the same pace as Dania, who had that lap advantage of keeping heat in the tires. Although I don't know how much heat the old tire model lost during pit stops, definitely not as much as the new tire model does, but either way, allows Hill to close back up to the back of Dania, as before the pit stop cycle, I think they were about 9/10 of a second apart. Now they're just about 7/10. So a couple tenths in favor of Hill. How much of that was from the pit stop versus getting stuck behind the Mustang, I don't know if we'll know, but either way, it's shaping up to be a battle to the end, as it looks like Dania has yet another blink out. Hopefully he's able to recover and come back.
Yeah, he is. We've got Dave Seats and Rob Henry finish up their cycle as there comes Henry out of pits now. That was Seats out of the pits. Henry heading in now. So see Seats and Watson going to renew their battle, but looks like Seats coming out well ahead of Watson. They're only separated by about half a second or so once they went in, but well done by Dave Seats. Almost a full second quicker in and out of pit lane. And I'm having a look. It doesn't look like Damien Dania came back in as in, so it looks like that's unfortunately going to be a connection issue for our leader. Christopher Hill now going to take top spot.
Yeah, I haven't seen him drop fully yet, but have to envision that that's going to be coming very shortly. As if he was going to blink back, I feel like he would have done so by now. So absolutely gutting to see from Dania there. Definitely, I'm sure not how Christopher Hill wanted to win this if he's able to hold on to the top spot. But there's the message now.
Yeah.
That is such a shame to see for Damien Dania. He was having such a good battle with Christopher Hill, and I'm sure Christopher did not want to see that happen as well. But as it stands, that turns the lead over to Hill, and he's got 15 seconds overhand of our new second-place driver, Dave Seeds, who has recovered from that spin. And then he's got James Watson about 3.2 seconds back after all the pit stops have shaken through. But tip of the cap to Rob Henry. He had that issue on lap 1, whether he got some help with going into the runoff at turn 1 or just lost it all on his own and locked the brakes up. But with all the issues to everybody else, he's back in the top 5.
Yeah, we didn't actually ever take a look at what happened to Rob Henry there to kick off the start of this race. Let's go back and see if he had any help, as you mentioned, in, or if it was just a missed braking marker. So that Martini car, the red, white, and blue, right in the middle. Oh, looks like he just locked it up. So he was actually very fortunate not to have more of an issue than that, as he actually got into the back of it. I think that was Joshua Rutherford. He was able to keep going. So nice recovery for him, as you mentioned, back to 5th place. But Joshua Rutherford now has moved around him. So they'll have there's 10 seconds between them. But Joshua Rutherford up into 4th place. Rob Henry in 5th. James Watson, final step on the podium. In GT3, Keon Maduro, once he got around Corey Rutherford, hasn't looked back at this point in time, but might have a penalty coming his way. We'll have to see if the stewards rule. Ty Marasco, the other Ford in GT3, so it's 1-2 right now for Ford in the 40-minute heat race or feature race, with Miglin sitting in 3rd in the BMW, about 11.5 seconds back of 2nd place Marasco.
Yeah, golden rule of any league that you're in: don't hit the admin. Unfortunately for Keon Maduro, I'm sure he's going to find that out after the stewards do the review of that sprint race incident between him and Corey Rutherford. But for now, as you said, he's got GT3 well in hand with almost 22 seconds over the fellow Mustang stablemate of Ty Marasco. But great looking paint job on that number 188 Mustang as well. So what he may lack in traffic management, he definitely makes up for in taste of liveries there. But speaking of our admin, Corey Rutherford, that is who is in front of him, lap down at the moment. But be interesting if Maduro catches him, if there's any shall we say, response or hand gestures. Well, you can't hand gesture in iRacing.
Tommy Milner? Yeah.
Yeah, any body language given from the Ferrari of Corey Rutherford there. So we're not advocating for retaliation whatsoever, but as Maduro we see getting lapped by our overall leader, Christopher Hill there. But either way, maybe some headlight flashing and displeasure coming his way before the after-action reports and all that fun stuff. But currently closest battle looks like between Rob Henry and Brian Dees for 5th place. About 2 seconds separating those guys. Looks like there was an incident
something might have
between,
happened to 2nd place GT3, or sorry, 3rd place like GT3 driver
Joshua
Dan
Rutherford. And yeah.
Let's take a look here and see what happens. So Miglin in the BMW. This is his turn. Goes back. Oh, he just tags the left rear of Rutherford, and around he goes. So probably golden rule number 2 of any league is in. First off, don't hit the admin, and then second rule, don't hit the admin's brother.
That rejoin looked very reminiscent of the start of the Rolex 24 and LMP2 when there was that whole schmozzle in turn 1, and one of the LMP2s went to go recover and got absolutely tagged by somebody not paying attention, also while rejoining. So that was great fun happening right in front of me. But either way, yes, don't hurt the admin is rule 1. Don't hit the admin's family is rule 1A.
Yeah, golden rules to league racing right there in roll 1 and 1A. As you see, Damian Dania is back on track. See him just in the background there. Unfortunately, he's going to be a couple laps down. So what could have been for him, but he's back up there. Looks like he's going to actually still garner 7th place points, as we lost Travis Fleming early on, and we know Brody Gunter had to go after a couple laps. But we head to Indy Road next week. Is in Prototypes, you know what? I've never enjoyed driving a prototype around there. To be honest with you, I haven't really enjoyed driving a GT3 car around there either. But it's fun in like an open wheel car, but these whole C7 prototypes are going to be interesting around there, as they're going to have a ton of pace up on the banked section. We'll see if maybe they have enough overtaking speed into turn 1 versus the GT3s, or if we might see a replay of Daytona last week where they kind of cap out at the same top speed heading into turn 1.
Yeah, I'll be curious which version of the Indy road course these guys run. If they run the old road course layout, which uses Indy oval turn 1, or if they use the current version, which has my preferred version of the back straightaway with the little kink or chicane right there, and has that cuts out that weird horseshoe around turns 4 and 5, but unfortunately has that stadium section and cuts out the oval part of turn 1 altogether. So if I was to do Indy road course, I would combine them. I would keep the back straightaway with the little kink, and I would get rid of the final stadium section and just use the Indy turn 1 section. But unfortunately, I'm not in charge, and Roger Penske is not answering my phone calls, so I can't give that input there. But we are on white flag lap, as Christopher Hill has a commanding lead of 18 seconds over Dave Seats, and he's going to tour the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez National Historic Layout one more time and look to bring this thing home.
He's only got about half the lap to go, but myself is in. I like the old MotoGP layout at Indy 2 as well. That old kind of horseshoe section. I found it more enjoyable than those massive, nasty curbs that they have in that first chicane now. But comfortable lead, as you mentioned, for Christopher Hill. He outlasted Damian Dania's internet connection. He's going to go into the final couple quarters here. He's going to take round 2 or week 2 feature race 40 minutes going by way of Christopher Hill. Well done to him. Last corner, hats off to Christopher Hill. Comfortably 19 seconds now ahead of Dave Seats.
Yeah, absolutely commanding performance. Fended off the challenge from Damian Dania all the way through the pit cycle, and as you said, outlasted the internet connection, which it is a massive bummer that played a part of it. But speaking of outlasting, that would be Keanu Maduro as well, who takes the win in GT3. Fought his way back from the back of the grid with the invert, battled back from some wall scrapes and some other issues, and took home a commanding victory in GT3. But Dave Seats is going to recover from his spin and finish P2, and James Watson is going to take the final step on the podium in our Daytona Prototype class.
And then we see our final podium, or sorry, second place GT3 here, Marasco. We get passed by, I think that's Brian Dees, the last corner there, and then Victor Aldrich, our final step on the GT3 podium. Well done for him. So there we go. That should pretty much make it official. I think Victor Aldrich, our final car on the lead lap for GT3. All of our prototypes are done, and then we'll take a look at the final results. Oh, there he goes in. I just heard them on comms. Indy Road next week is the 2009 layout.
So we will get Indy Turn 1. Good.
So there you go. Let's take a look at the final results here for the feature race in C7 Daytona. Christopher Hill takes the win over Dave Seats, with James Watson rounding out the podium. Joshua Rutherford in 4th, with Rob Henry coming home in 5th. Dees, Dania, Fleming, and Gunter round out the field in Daytona. And then what do we have over in GT3s?
Yeah, as you saw, Keone was Keone Maduro with that dominant victory in GT3, followed home by Ty Marasco and Victor Aldrich, rounding out the podium there, followed by Daniel Miglin, Corey Rutherford, and Ken Estep.
So that'll wrap up the results here for the feature race. So we had a couple of drivers in the holding room here. We'll get to them in just a second. First, let's bring in our... We got our second place GT3 finisher, Ty Marasco, to catch up with. Brian's in.
Hey, Ty, congratulations on your second place in the feature race. How was your night overall tonight?
Pretty hectic. Racing hard in the first one, and maybe got a little too aggressive, spun out, recovered well, finished third, and I feel like a lot of guys had. I mean, there wasn't a big GT3 field, but I feel like a lot of guys did have problems, and me included. I spun out twice, I think, in both rates, and finished third and second. So, just resilience to get back up there.
Yeah, the Mustang looked like it's been through the battles at the end of the feature race there, but nevertheless coming home with a P2 for your efforts. So looking ahead at Indy Road Course, we heard at the end that you guys are running the 2009 layout, which uses Indy Turn 1. Are you excited for next week?
I am. I like the Indy Road Course. I personally like the newer road course better, but I mean, with the Mustang, it's got good straight line speed, so I'm sure using Turn 1 will actually help the Mustang, but it's not a big fan of that big loop. It's like Turn 3 or 4, the big loop. Not a big fan of that, like just going straight through the little chicane S and down the backstretch.
Are you expecting it to be same top speed as the Daytona prototypes as you guys get down to Turn 1 as it was at Daytona, or are you expecting a little bit of gap as there was tonight at Mexico?
I think it'd be similar to Mexico, but I do think we'll actually maybe get closer. Maybe, I don't know if as much as Daytona. Daytona's pretty big to get wound up on. But I think we'll be close. We'll be in the middle between this and that. So, but it'll be interesting. Definitely breaking hard in the Turn 1.
Absolutely. Well, it was good watching you tonight. A couple solid podiums in the sprint and the feature race. So best of luck to you next week, and we'll see you at Indy.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
That was our second place finisher, Ty Marasco, in the feature race of GT3. Let's bring in our winner of the feature race, Christopher Hill. Chris, we saw you and Damien kind of going tooth and nail for a large portion of the feature race, and then looked like his internet connection let out on him towards the end. You were able to come home in top spot. Overall, how did you feel your 40-minute feature race went?
No, not too bad, all things considered. You know, I don't ever get any time to practice for these things, so it's kind of one of those things when you know, that whole feature, I'm sitting there once he's ahead of me, and I'm just like struggling to get through that last section a little bit, and funny enough, I figured it out on the last lap. You know, last 2 laps, it was, you know, so I don't know if I would have got to him by the end there, but all in all, pretty happy with you know, getting a win. I mean, can't complain when you win, you know. So it was definitely feeling like a night of consolidating, you know, with trying to just get a second spot for a bit there, and then yeah, then his internet kind of dumped out. Not the way you want to win, but hey, a win's a win. I'll take it. So
that's right. You never look a gift win in the face. But next week we head to Indy, kind of I guess you can kind of say a cross between the Daytona race from race 1 and tonight here in Mexico. How are you feeling taking these old prototype cars to Daytona or Indy? I guess it'd be historic layout that we're going.
Pretty good actually. As a track, it's. I mean, I don't. You know, like I said, I don't really ever get time to really do any testing or practice in the sim, but like it's a track that I actually have a real life seat time at, and so it's one I feel pretty confident of putting together decent laps there and being competitive. You know, I know that Damien will be on his A game because he has the time to do the practice and such. So it should be a fun one, yeah, either way. But it's a track I enjoy for sure. So I'm looking forward to giving that a go, and hopefully we can battle for another podium or another win and try to hold on to the points lead. So.
There we go. We heard it here first. Christopher Hill calling out a win next week is his in real life track experience. I don't want to put the pressure on you, Christopher. But before
well,
we
you always got to try, you know. So
before we let you go, you got any shout outs to anybody watching at home?
Yeah, well, just I just want to thank some sponsors. Obviously, we don't have the car in a livery right now. I just hadn't really quite got us all set up there. But you know, big thanks to James Watson and his team, Watson Racing Setup Shop. He's been a big supporter of mine for a long time, and we've you know, he's been there through the highs and the lows, and they make some dang good setups, and they're dang good people. So if you're looking for that kind of stuff, hit them up. I always got to mention my company, because I'm a driving instructor by trade, and I have a company called Precision Racing Instruction, and we do private instruction with people in their own cars and sometimes on the sim and that kind of stuff. So anybody looking for a little help in that arena, you know, let me know. I'll see what I can do to help you out. Thanks to you guys for hosting and putting on the video. It's always fun to go watch these things back after the fact, and so yeah, looking forward to next week. So.
Well, excellent stuff, Christopher. Best of luck next week at Indy, and hopefully we see everything goes right. We see you battling for the sharp end of the field again next week. Take care.
Yeah, for sure. Have a good one.
That was our feature winner, Christopher Hill. Well, so we got time for maybe one more interview here. Let's bring in our GT3 winner, Keon Majuro, to catch up with Brian Zinn.
Keone, congratulations on your win in both races tonight. How was it for you out there tonight?
It was pretty easy. You know, I did my homework. You know, I'd done my practice in the week before a week, before a few days before today, and you know, it paid off.
What are you looking forward to going to Indy next week? How are you feeling?
I've never done that track, so I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to go over there, practice, and see. Hopefully, I have more of a bigger field, a larger field with competitors, so I can actually compete, you know. But I'm looking to do the same thing, win, basically.
Absolutely. Well, before we let you go for the night, any people or sponsors you want to give a shout out to?
My wife, you know, putting up with this all the time, having me, you know, and my boy back in Canada, who put me on and made sure like I actually went ahead and got all the gear that I needed to do what I'm doing right now. So
absolutely, gotta love the family connections. Well, congratulations again on your win in both the heat race and the feature race, and looking forward to seeing what you can do next week at Indianapolis.
all right, guys, have a good one.
That was our heat and feature winner in GT3, Keone Majuro. He's looking to go back to back to back next week at Indy. So again, as he mentioned, it'd be nice to see a bigger field. We had 25, almost 30 cars, I think it was, for race one. I know, what are we at? Mexico, a newer track. It usually takes a couple seasons for drivers to pick up that track, but Indy next week is an older track. It's been around on iRacing for a while. So if you've been kind of lurking out there watching, you want to get involved, you find the league Discord link in the description of the video. They'd love to have you, get you on track. It's a free league to join, and then you can come maybe talk to us after and watch the race back afterwards. But for Richard, or for excuse me, for Brian Zinn and myself, Rob Campbell, in the booth here, this has been Racers Nexus. We'll catch you back next week, same time, same place, but it'll be Indy Road. Bye for now.